My mic is that, and my speaker should be here. Can you hear me now, Matthew? Give me a quick thumbs up if you do. I thought my mic was on, but it was on the wrong microphone. Can you hear me? Can someone give me a thumbs up? Just let me know if you can actually hear me now. According to this, it's working. And that's working. Can you hear me? I need someone to let me know if it's working or not. Just give me a quick message in. Great. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know, Matthew. Yeah, you know, to err is human, but to really mess up, you need a computer. So, so what I was saying is I've never, I've printed TPU before, but I've never printed TPU on a large, really large printer. Like, and the NR5 Plus is a large printer with a very, very long Bowden tube. So I did my first print today to test it out. And it's just this little rubber grommet. But let me show you the first layer. The first layer is like glass. And that's TPU. That material is NinjaFlex Cheetah. And I have to say, I've had other people do TPU prints, and their first layer looks like this. And it does actually break apart a little bit. You can actually see other people printing, the layers actually come apart. And lots of stringing. Whereas on a Bowden style printer with a soft material like NinjaFlex and Cheetah, I can get, you can't really see the layer lines or anything on it. It's super smooth. It's like a mirror. I'm really happy with that. If anyone wants to come and join the conversation, if you want to come in and join, I just paste the link in there in the chat. You can click on the link and make sure you mute your YouTube before you click on the link and come in to join me, because otherwise we'll have a lot of feedback. But you can come in and join. It's just a hangout. We talk about anything to do with 3D printing or CNC or laser engraving or whatever. There's no specific topic. We just keep the content clean. That's the only thing that we try and do, because there is no age restrictions on my channel. So I try to keep the content available to everybody, not adults only. So if you want to join in, please click on the link. It'll bring you to StreamYard. And right now, I think, Matthew, you might be the only person online. I normally stream to Facebook as well. I just didn't do it this time. I didn't include Facebook. I got lazy. I didn't want to click the extra icon. So let's see if we get anyone else joins. But please feel free to come in and join the conversation, ask questions. Hey, Nadav, do you want to join in? If you see the link there, click on the link, come in and join the conversation. Hey, Mark. I'm not seeing. Okay, now I see you guys starting to show up for some reason. Okay, so if you want to click on the link there, guys, if you see the link, if you don't, let me post it again. You can click on that link, come in and join the conversation. But I'm very impressed with that TPU finish. So, hey, Matt, let me bring you in. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm okay.
Did you get a haircut?
No, I just put some gel in.
Oh,
getting too long.
See, I'm all scruffy and unshaved, and you're dressing yourself up to come online.
Oh yeah, just for you, just for you.
Oh, I was telling everyone. Did you see Did you see the TPU print I did?
Yes, it looks really excellent.
It's like glass. I mean, the first layer is perfect. But I have to. This is my test. I have a bigger one to print. I have a friend of mine, is putting a new electrical panel into the garage,
Okay.
and they wanted to surround it with a TPU as a like a gasket, but a nice finish. And their printer wasn't big enough, so I have an Ender 5 Plus, the big printer, the 350 by 350 bed. So I
Oh.
yeah, 350 by 350 by 400 is the bed area for the 5 Plus. So I said I'd try, but I've never done flexible on that printer before. But it came out really nice. So I'm very impressed. But it's super slow. Like, that's 15 millimeters per second
Wow.
print speed. First layer is 7 millimeters per second. And so it's crawl. So this big part thing they want me to do.
Took you an hour to do that thing.
This took almost 2 hours.
Wow.
But it's 100% infill.
Yeah. Okay.
But so this thing that they want me to print is mostly walls, but there is supports for it, and I'm guessing it's probably a day or two's print at that speed. I'm guessing. Let me bring it into Cura and see. I have my Cura profile set up. We delete that, and I'll import the other item that they sent me. I haven't even tried it in the system yet to see how long it takes. So it's a conduit, a J channel box. Just fits my bed. Let me slice that and see how long it takes.
Yeah, I have my Cura profile right now up too, and I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do next. And thank you early on for the tip. And I actually, one of the steps I didn't do, and
push the button through?
Yeah, I did that, but I couldn't get it through. It was
but you take the nozzle off because there's probably some material stuck in there. It happens. Yeah. So every time you are changing your button, and you should change the nozzle as well, and you remove the nozzle and push the button all the way through. That cleans. Now, if you have, I have some mini brass brushes. Do you have those round brass brushes?
Like milk bottle brushes.
No, they're brass. They're really small. They're very narrow, with brass bristles.
Yeah, I have something like this. Somewhat like
well, it needs to fit inside that area, because if the other option is to actually push it through and use the brush while turning it in and out of through the heat break and stuff, it will actually polish and clean out any debris off the inside.
All right.
But you have to do it hot.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that part they want me to print is 3 days, 17 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be slow print.
Like some of my prints 7 days, or my longest 18 days.
Yeah, because this thing, I've done 9 days of a print. I've never done 18 days. Then that's for lithophanes, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, lithophanes can be slow. This is it's 317 by 217, and it's 24 millimeters high. So, guys, anyone who's out there wants to join the conversation, you have the link there in chat. If you don't see it, let me know, and I will post the link out there, and you can come join. But yeah, so how's the printer printing now?
Yeah, it's printing excellent. Really, it's really clean print.
Yeah, I would recommend you change your Bowden tube to Capricorn tubing. The stock tubes have a lot of play in them.
Okay.
And stock tubes, they tend to burn and get damaged at a lower temperature. Whereas the Capricorn XS tubing is really good.
Yeah, I can show you. It came out really nice.
How does it look under the light, against the light?
Hold on a second. Let me turn my camera.
Oh, yeah, that's good. A fractal design.
This is a Mantelbrot set. It's a mathematical formula. What they use to calculate space. I think they use it in astronomy too, to calculate the universe itself. I think.
What did you say the name of it was?
Mantelbrot set.
No, I haven't heard of it in astronomy.
Mantelbrot is German. Mantle bread. It's basically like a nut and a bread, nut bread. I think you call it translated. But this guy is really. He sadly died not too long ago. I think 10 years ago. And I mean, he and his dad done a lot of work in mathematics, and I really have a high respect for him. And I actually met him once in Las Vegas in the year 2000, and yeah, we discussed a few mathematical formulas, etc. And wow, he gave me lots of tips and tricks.
Cool. So, yeah. So you have more lithophane to do?
Yeah, definitely.
You're
Tomorrow...
probably busy coming up to Christmas now, are you?
No. Not well. I'm not sure. Last Christmas I didn't have the printer, so I'm not sure. I've been busy constantly since I got one printer, and then I got a second printer because I was falling behind my work, and then I got a third printer because I was falling again behind my work, and now I have a fourth printer. So
sweet.
Yeah, all the same. I'm making a vase right now. I did had a mishap earlier. I bumped into the machine, or my dog did, and I tried to get my dog from underneath the table out, and I bumped the table, and it literally just swooped over and cut through and stopped the machine dead in track. So I only have like the top is missing, like this much.
You could measure that, and hey, Justin, do you want to? If you want, I'm not sure if you see the link or not, but here is a link. You can come in and join when you get a chance. Well, you can measure that and print the top part.
Yeah.
I mean, like you need to use calipers to get precise measurement. But if you do that, what you do is then I have a video out there on that on how to do it. What you do is you measure it, and you take the vase that you're printing and move it down below the z-axis. So the amount that's remaining is just what's left over of the overall vase, what you need, the top part. So you need to get it precisely. But when you do that, then you just print the top part and you can glue it on.
All right.
I did it for, I actually did that.
Model making.
For this. The top of this went bad on me. There's not that much of it. And I actually measured this, and I just printed the tip of the nose, and I put it on, and I had to do a bit of cleanup, but the more precisely you measure, the better. This I knew when we sanding.
Yeah, it definitely will work for this, but not for lithophanes. Because
it would work for the vase, yes.
It is one of my lithophane vases designs, but I used, instead of white, I used copper, and I mean it came out really nice.
Yeah, the coppers are nice. The shiny copper, shiny silvers. They came out. I have a shiny silver, a shiny green, and a shiny gold there.
The only thing is,
I don't have a copper.
The only thing what I'm not happy about is this little seam right there.
Well, you'll always get a Z seam. One thing you could possibly do there is to randomize your Z seam, or what else could you do? Yeah, randomizing is probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, that's just a button to switch.
Yeah, well, and enable outer wall wipe. So before it moves, it does a retraction, wipes the nozzle, does a Z hop before it starts. That way, then you don't end up getting oozing from the nozzle before it starts the next level.
How fast you have your Z hop going up?
That depends on your material. And it's not about the speed of the Z hop. It's more important about the speed of fast travel to get to the new destination, and wiping your nozzle before you go there, so you have a clean. You do a retraction and outer wall wipe for about like 0.2 of a millimeter, then hop to a new location and then start. By doing that, you will decrease the chance of oozing, so you don't get these little pits on the surface. and you also get a clean nozzle on starting. Is what you get.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah.
My thinking was also to do the my thing is I can't go more than faster than 120 mms a second, and when I do the
Faster
Z
than
hop,
what? What was the speed?
120, it's too fast for my machine, so I have to turn it down to 80.
For what? Your travel speed?
The Z hop or the travel speed.
Well, yeah, they don't have to be super fast. Like I do my travel speed. Let me check what I have my travel speed set at.
I have mine at
Um,
60 for lithophane, and for I mean sometimes I go between
well, my
40
travel
to
speed is at
60.
150.
One, you're going double as fast as me.
Yeah, without issue. Let me see what my Z hop settings are.
I mean, the other day I accidentally put 1447 in. The machine went like, oh, I
Yeah,
immediately switched it
I
off.
for Z hop I don't have a speed. Z hop is only about distance, and I Z hop a layer, one layer up. So if I'm doing a 0.2, I'll Z hop a 0.2. You can go higher, but I wouldn't go much higher than the thickness of a layer. Maybe at most twice the thickness of a layer for a Z hop.
Yeah,
I
I was
wouldn't do
going up
more than
5
that.
mil.
Sorry?
I was going up 5 mil.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And that really slows down your print. I would probably go up, like if you're doing 0.2 layer, I would go up to maybe only do a 0.2, 0.3, maybe a 0.4. Or sorry, yeah, I would go at most double my layer height. Because you don't need that much clearance. The only time you need that much clearance is if you think there's going to be an impact. And there shouldn't be because you're doing layer on layer.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you're worried about something, you can increase it, but I wouldn't do it. I haven't needed to do it anyway. Let me say that.
Yeah, I've just been using it for like 3 weeks now, the Z hop, and I'm not so keen on it.
But it depends what you're doing.
Yeah, it worked really well for plug doing. You know, I was doing a plug, and it came out pretty nice. I didn't have much of, well, I had string in between the letters, but once I can show you. When it's, you know,
Yeah.
so I get roughen it up a little bit, so have a nice.
Well, if you want to get that smooth, it's up to you.
Yeah.
You need lots of different grit sandpaper. Like I would do everything from 200 all the way up to 3,000.
Oh wow.
So you do to get it even consistency. I would do it at 200, maybe 250. Then go up to a 400 grit and go over to lessen any of the grit mark from the first one, and then go up to maybe a 600 grit and do it. And I would do mostly wet and dry paper. You know the one that you can wet the sandpaper
Mm-hmm.
like you use for automotive. So
No.
you can get it's like a black material, like a sandpaper that's black, and it's designed for it's called wet and dry. What's that one?
That's my
That's
sandpaper.
ordinary sandpaper. Show me what it looks like the other side. Show me what the sandpaper looks like. Is it brown?
No.
Yeah. Don't use that. That and use the you can get what's called wet and dry, and it's actually black.
Okay.
And it's designed to be used with to use with water. So you actually wet it and you sand with it because what it does is the water takes away whatever grit you clean up and actually
Mm-hmm.
flushes it out of it and moves
Okay.
it off out of your way. And then as you get finer and finer paper, the water acts like a lubrication when they're actually sanding, and you get finer and finer detail. Like if you ever see people with the Iron Man helmets and all this kind, and they're super sheeny, perfectly small and shiny surfaces. They do that by sanding, and they sand all the way up to 3,000 grit, wet and dry, and they wet it and they polish. It's like polishing, but you're
Yeah,
actually sanding.
like a stone almost.
Yeah, but you're getting so fine detail on it, it actually comes out to a sheen finish. So you start off with a 250 to level it, then go up to maybe a 500, then go up to maybe an 800 or 1,000 grit, then maybe a 1,600 grit, then maybe a 2,000, then finish it off with a 3,000. But anything over the 250 should be wet, because it eats up less material, but it actually gives you a nicer finish, because it actually acts like the water acts like a layer of lubricant in between the paper and your part, and then it actually helps it, and it actually moves the debris out of the way while you're sanding. But it actually it makes a huge difference. Like this thing, we don't sand rubber, right?
No, you don't sand rubber. No.
But any hard plastics, like that got a little bit of sandpaper, not much, but a little bit. The rocket, not that one, the big one.
Yeah.
Let me change this view. By the way, this is not. I don't like this view. But you can do a lot. Like it takes elbow grease, and if you really want to get it perfectly smooth, you use some filler.
Oh yeah. Filler first on, and then sand it down.
Yeah.
I finished my project finished one of the projects for my charity project, and it came out pretty well.
Good.
So I'm really happy with it. I made actually two. One is with ironing and one is without ironing. And actually, without ironing came out better than with ironing.
It depends on what you're doing. Ironing on a very large surface can actually be bad. It can make it worse. Ironing on small areas helps, like lettering or whatever, like that, some small surface. But when you're doing a large surface, ironing can be bad because you have so much material that it can end up moving around. It can be a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, in the description it says it deposits a small layer of liquid plastic on top. So that's what it says in the description what it does, but
Okay.
But it's only been on the ironing, I think, for the last two updates of Cura. Before that, I didn't have that, I believe.
Which? Ironing?
Ironing.
No, it's always been there. It's been there a long time.
Really? I didn't see it. And it was never prominent for me.
No, it's been there a long time, yeah. Ironing's been there a long time. Yeah, I've used it for a long time.
Yeah, I'm getting used to Cura, but I think Cura sometimes have a lot of trouble with it. Every time when they bring out a new update, it's kind of glitchy and it kind of...
It varies.
Yeah. I mostly stick to the old Cura till the new Cura bugs are fixed, and then I asked everybody online, what do you think of Cura now? Is it any better? Any glitches? Or then most people say, I have good experience, and if I have more positives than negatives, then I go over to the new one, I think.
Well, I'm using 4.8, which is the new version.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now too. But I waited a couple 2-3 weeks I waited before I took it.
You should look at Idea Maker.
Idea Maker? Okay, I'll try that.
It's a nice slicer. Now, there's a bit of learning curve involved. Idea Maker works by combining profiles. You get your printer profile and you combine that with your filament profile to make it usable.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Mark just said there. Let me bring up Mark's comment. Mark said Cura 2.7 came out with ironing.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I meant. It came out not too long ago.
No, 2.7, not 4.7.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, we're on 4.8 right now. So that was
tired.
years ago. Ironing is after a while. The newest thing in Cura is they've made tree supports a normal rather than an experimental feature, and the outer wall wipe. Yeah, Mark said it was 2017. So it's 3 years it's been out now. But they also they made outer wall wipe a normal feature rather than an experimental one that you have to turn on. So they did a few steps like that, and I really like the outer wall wipe. Like with PETG and with TPU, it really makes a difference. So yeah, I like it. But Idea Maker is a really good product too.
Okay.
I'll probably be using more and more Idea Maker because I have some IDEX machines coming. I have a JG Maker Artist D, and it sounds like I'm going to also have a Weedo, the Weedo IDEX coming in sometime between now and probably mid to late January. So when they happen, it'll be and that'll be good because I have the two IDEX machines out there, so I'll do individual reviews of them, and then I'm going to do a head-to-head one, pair them off against each other, doing the exact same print, side by side, run them. Maybe I'll do a live stream of that.
I thought about to do a similar thing with my machine because I have 4 machines. I thought to do an endurance test run.
Yeah.
But of course, everybody is identical machines, but there will be slight differences. Like all of them will get brand new nozzle. The Bowden tube will gets changed out, and everybody gets a test print before the endurance test, and then I have to think about what each machine does and if it's going to be the same objects, what they're going to print, or different settings.
It should be
for
the
this.
same. If you're going to do a test, they should be identical. Same size, same everything, same print, same material type. So all white PLA from the same manufacturer is the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm going to do. But
or whatever color you're going to use, make them all the same. White is not good to show print quality. Normally, if you want to do really show print quality, I would probably go with
gray,
silver, or gray. Blacks are okay. Something that would actually highlight, where you could highlight inconsistencies if there's going to be any.
Copper, I think, does it really well.
Copper, yeah, but I wouldn't waste. In all fairness, copper is a nice material. I wouldn't waste it on a test like that.
I pay 15 quid a roll for it. So same for the white.
What manufacturer is it?
G-Tech.
Okay. Oh yeah, this 15 British pound.
Yeah, British pound. Yeah,
that's about we pay in dollars.
£20 dollar.
That's about $22. Yeah. So let's see how much that price will change now once this Britex thing goes through.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to get into politics, but I'm just saying I wonder how it's going to affect your pricing.
Oh yeah.
If anyone's out there that wants to come in and join, I just posted the link on the chat. You can go click on the link and come join the conversation if you wish.
I can show you my supply of filament just in case Brexit hits.
Oh, you've been stocking up?
Yep, I'm stocking up.
Is that all?
Yeah, well, that's a lot for me. That's a lot for me. I mean,
I have that amount of stuff on one shelf.
I go maybe through a roll every 2 weeks. Maybe if I go really fast, a week for a roll. So, but
yeah, no, I don't do. Well, I don't do a lot of PLA stuff anyway. I do mostly PETG.
Yeah, I know.
So and I buy the larger spools, so it lasts a bit more.
Oh yeah, you have to use a 2.5 kilo.
Yeah, well, I buy the PETG from IC3D, and they come in 1 kilo, 2.5, or 10.
Okay.
And the 10 kilo is a bit much, But the bigger the spools you buy, the cheaper it is to buy it.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Because like if I buy a 2 kilo spool, it costs me the equivalent, or 2.5 kilo spool, it costs me the equivalent of 2 kilos. So I get a half a kilo free. If I buy a 10 kilo spool, it costs me the equivalent of 6 kilos.
Wow.
So I save a lot if you go. The more you buy, the larger the spools you buy, the cheaper. Because what the company does is they make it, and they spool it on 10 kilo spools.
And then they re-spool it again on little ones.
And they re-spool it based on demand. So they could have 50 10 kilo spools of whatever material, whatever color they're doing or whatever, and then they could churn out, like somebody's got mostly a full-time job re-spooling stuff down to smaller spools, onto the 1 kilo spools, and the 2.5s. So you saw my stream last week, didn't you? You were on the stream last week?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So they talked about it on that stream because the guy that was on last week was from IC3D.
Yeah, I was hoping to win some free filament, but I'm like,
oh man,
some of the stuff I didn't know. So
come in tomorrow night. Tomorrow night I have I don't have filament to give away tomorrow. Tim is, Tim Huygens from TH3D.
Tim Huygens, Magpie.
You know the company TH3D?
No. Yeah, I think so. But I'm sorry. Names go in and go out in the other ear for me.
Well, if you know the company name, maybe TH3D. They do a lot. They're really good, and they're big.
Show me the logo, then I probably will know the logo.
Okay, I don't have it with me, but go. Look up TH3D Studio.
I will.
Right, that's the name of the company, TH3D Studio, and Tim was the owner, but I believe his wife has taken ownership now, because he wants to concentrate in the tech and let her run the business.
All right.
So Tim will be doing a giveaway of an easy ABL. His version of the ABL. It's not a normal ABL that is like the. I think it uses capacitance is what it does, right? It's capacitance ABL, and he'll. But I don't know if he'll ship overseas. That's the problem. You're coming in from overseas.
Yeah.
So, guys, whoever just joined, if you want to come in and join the conversation, the link for the StreamYard should be in the chat. If you click on the link in the StreamYard, you can come in and join the conversation. If not, you can just ask questions in chat, but it's easier if you just come in and join. So he'll be doing a giveaway tomorrow night on my stream tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, starting at 8 o'clock. And also, I have my own giveaway. Let me show you.
Nope, that was your bottle.
That's okay. I have a giveaway for tomorrow night of my own. Again, US only, because I'm not shipping internationally because it costs a fortune.
Yeah.
Creality Wi-Fi box.
Cool.
So that'll be on the giveaway I'll be giving this away. So Tim was giving something away, and I'm giving this away as well tomorrow, the Creality Wi-Fi box. So I have another thing there, but I'm not giving it away. It's mine. It was because this one I want to keep because I want to put it into my Soval printer. It's the BTT SKR Mini E3, the V2 version, the SKR Mini mainboard. So I'm going to keep. I'm planning that for my Soval printer. So guys, whoever joined, the link is in chat. If you don't see it, let me know. I can repost it. If you want to come in and join the conversation.
What I like to do is now take one of my 3D printers and take it apart and make it a little bit more silent running, and also.
Well, you need to change your main board for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And because I want to have AstroPrint, something what I can hook up to my computer and can control with my computer over my cell phone, So if I'm away from home, I have a CCT camera system what I'm gonna install into the room and to watch my printers. And then I have like a switch I can have on my phone. I already got that. I just need to plug it in, and then I can go onto my phone and switch it off the printer.
There's a solution for that already. 1 second. And I'm not advertising. Well, I'll advertise TH3 a little bit because he's coming onto my chat tomorrow. TH3D, I have not yet released them yet, but they're coming out with smart switches, like power plugs.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I don't know if he'll do it for everywhere. I know he's doing it for the US. And basically, you can turn them on and off remotely. So you can power up you can leave the switch on in your printer, and you can turn it on, or you can link it through AstroPrint to the switch, to the power switch, and it will actually turn on the AstroPrint can tell the switch to turn on your printer.
Okay.
Remote access to your printers. Now, and if you have multiple AstroPrint, like Raspberry Pis, Octopies set up, you can use OctoFarm. There is a software called OctoFarm, which ties into all of your AstroPrint printers, your AstroPrint.
That's what I'm looking for.
And presents them as one unified interface, so you can actually manage them all from one screen. You don't have to go to each individual one. It's all one interface. So I know Tim uses this for his environment, and he's got a lot of printers because he does printing services as well, and he's got a lot of them, and he manages his environment through OctoFarm.
Basically, I'm using this.
Yeah. You can put a name out there if you don't want. It's fine.
Well, I didn't know. So it's really cheap. £7 I paid for it. So
as long as you can, if you can manage it smartly and turn it on and off, that's what you want, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's really good. They make good light bulbs too.
Yeah. Hey, Nada, do you want to come in and join? The link is here. Do you want to come join the conversation?
Yeah, I'm a little bit not good of a talker, so I need somebody else in here to talk.
Yeah, come in and help Matt. But so he's and he's got his own ones designed for himself.
All right.
So he's into electronics, right? He's came from IT, but he's very big into electronics. So he's actually designed. He's working with a company. Oh, Nadav's in bed. That's no excuse.
Yes, but I'm gonna head after this to bed. Yeah. Good. It's 2:00 in the morning here, almost.
But you don't sleep. You never sleep. You're always up till 5 a.m. anyway.
Yeah, I know. But mostly I sleep from 8 o'clock in the evening till 12 o'clock. But mostly I wake up around about 10-ish, 11-ish, and have a nightmare, etc. because of my PTSD, and so it does affect my sleep a lot, and it's just horrific.
Yeah. But the so I know Tim is working with smart plugs, and he worked on getting them designed, right?
Okay.
And so he will be shipping them. He's sent out a few to some people for testing, a handful of them, and he will be probably shipping them early next year. Maybe even before that, but probably early next year is my guess, before he starts ships them. And but the nice thing is they do tie into your Octopi, so your Octopi can tell the switch to turn on. So if you have remote access to your Octopi, you can tell the switch to come on. That means that you only have to run the Pi running at home, and you can turn your printers on one at a time, whichever one you want to work on remotely.
That's cool.
Quite nice.
That's what I kind of want. That was kind of my idea with this, because I'm just gonna leave the power button on, and I'm just gonna keep switching it on here,
Yeah, a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that with filament dryers as well, because they have a filament dryer that does not have an on-off timer.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll put on a smart plug on it, and then configure that to come on and off and dry the filament that way.
Yeah, I need to get one.
Well, I use a food dehydrator.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, a cheap one. Mine cost 25
30
bucks.
quid. Yeah, 30 quid. That's what I want to spend.
So guys, those of you who are out there, if you want to come in and join the conversation, and help out Matt, because poor Matt is struggling.
Yeah, I'm getting tired now.
You can click in the link.
I've been up now since 24 hours now, and
yeah, that would make it hard.
Yeah.
So you should do some research about what if you're going to upgrade your printers to silent boards. You should do some research on because your printers are all GTEC.
Yeah.
You do some research on the GTEC forums about what other people have used, because some stuff is drop in. You just drop in and you're done. Other items require more work.
It needs to flash some of the cards.
Well, you would have to flash the firmware of the board, whatever board you put in there.
Do you still use Flash FXP or?
Sorry?
I used to flash my Xbox, and I used to use a Flash FXP.
It's very different. If your boards come with a bootloader built in, which you can find out online. Okay, if it comes with a bootloader, you can flash with your PC over USB. If it doesn't come with a bootloader, you will have to flash a bootloader on it first, which means you need to have an Arduino Uno or something along those lines to talk to your board to push in to compile the
information
firmware or the bootloader and push the bootloader onto the board, and then you flash the new software in there and the new firmware on top of the bootloader. So some machines do have them, some don't. So you'd have to find out if yours do. I have a feeling they don't. I have a feeling the GTECs don't have a bootloader. But it's not hard, but there are steps you have to go through to do so. So do some research on the user forums. I don't have a GTEC, so I can't tell you if it does or does not have a bootloader. But if it does, it's easy. If it doesn't, it's a little bit more involved, but it's easy-ish as long as you follow the instructions.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've done both ways. It works. Actually, I used the TH3D firmware on one of my older printers some time ago to update the. It did not have thermal runaway protection enabled on it, so I had to flash a bootloader and then but I installed TH3D. They compile their own firmware, their own Maryland firmware, and I used their firmware to flash the board, and it worked great. They do really good firmware. I mean, they're very responsive.
Okay.
So, but so nobody else wants to come in and chat. If you do, please click in the link. Justin said he'll be in a while, but he's probably off. He's just after finishing work.
Oh, Canadian guy.
Mike, I think his name was.
Oh.
What about him?
Oh no, I just thought of him. So.
Oh.
Because I like this microphone, because he got this proper radio set microphone, you know. So I found that really cool.
Yeah, mine is on my desk.
Do you have also a muffler in front?
I have. I don't have the big soft cover on it. Let me show you. I like the blue snowball. My cables are a bit tied up. 1 second.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. The muffler.
Yeah. Well, that's what this does. It actually stops certain sounds that we make a sound, right? And that would actually hit and actually cause sound issues. So what this cover does, it actually diffuses that air, because sound travels through air, right? It's a mechanical process, and it hits that, and that actually breaks it up. So it doesn't hit the microphone in that way, and therefore it doesn't come out as bad.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was. That's why I thought this was called as muffler.
Okay, Dominic said he bought a Sunlu fill dryer, but it only reached around 50 degrees centigrade, despite what the display says. Without the small fan I installed in it, it would only reach 42. Yeah, well, 50 degrees centigrade, that's fine for PLA, right? Up to 50 to 60 is okay for drying PLA. I do PETG, which requires over 70 degrees to dry. And I found a food dehydrator, which is way cheaper than the filler dryer. It cost me $25 on the bargain shelf in my local hardware store. They was like they were getting rid of them of the stock, and they had a few of them there, and I got one, and it cost basically nothing, right? The cost of a McDonald's is probably what, right? And I use it all the time, and it's fantastic. Now I do big spools, so the Sunlu fill dryer will only do 1 kilo spools, and it won't do every spool type, because some spools are designed slightly different and they may not fit. Whereas what the food dehydrator will fit everything. And I actually even printed a mod for it, because I needed more depth for my large spools, the 2.5 kilo spools. Let me show you the 2.5 kilo spool. You've never seen one, have you?
No. Yeah, I've seen one before, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen one
Okay,
before. I've never seen a 10
if anyone
kilo
wants
one.
to see it, I can bring one in. I just took one off my printer. I have one for PETG out there. But in comparison, it's way bigger, right? It's much bigger.
Wider.
And I have I 3D printed on my big printer, the Ender 5 Plus. I printed a ring, couple of walls thick, with actually I printed it about this high, and I realized I messed up. It should have been twice that high, so I printed in the second one and I stuck them together. And
excuse me for a second. My dogs are going off. I have to check.
Yeah, of course. So on Amazon, the food dehydrator start around 50. If you look at your local hardware store, I don't know if you have Menards wherever you are. We have Menards, and I found it on the bargain shelf of Menards for 25. So it's half that price. But yeah, you can buy them on Amazon for more. But I didn't need to. I got it really cheap. I happened to be in the hardware store. I saw them in there, so I said, "Oh, I need a filament dryer," and this was so cheap. I said I'd give it a try. And the temperatures, it actually reached temperatures. It says it goes up to over 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which is more than enough to dry most filaments. Or I think it's even a little bit higher than that again. But it works really well. And I just dried some TPU today. I was in there for hours, because TPU is very hydroscopic. It absorbs lots of moisture. So I dried it in there today, and it printed. I don't know if you were on a while ago, Dominic, but I printed TPU on my with a Bowden tube printer today. My Ender 5 Plus. It's a very long Bowden tube, and this is the print. This is the surface quality. You see how shiny that surface quality is? This is the first layer of that. So it came out really nice. Because I have this is my test. I have a bigger one to print, a bigger part to print for a friend. That's going to take about 3 days to print. But you're in Chicago, so the Menards are everywhere. Yeah, so go check Menards bargain shelf. It's normally down the back of the store, way down the back of the store. They often have a bargain shelf, so you should check it out. You would often get them down there way cheaper, and mine costs $25. Other people spend $200 on a filament drying system. Sorry, no, I'm not doing that. I don't see a point. like unless you're doing it for a business, and unless you're making money in that business, and then you need to like print nylon, and you need to keep it dry continuously, then it makes sense. When you're printing PLA, you don't need an expensive filament dryer. If you're doing PETG, you really don't, as long as you dry it well before using it. And if you're printing, I would probably use one for TPU. I would probably use one for nylon. I may even use it. I would probably use it for polycarbonates because they are very hydroscopic. But I wouldn't use it for PLA. Oh, well, I printed mine not on my Ender 5 Plus, which is bigger than the 5 Pro. It's a 350 by 350 by 400 bed. And I'm using the stock extruder, no Titan, the simple basic stock extruder. And I printed Ninja Flex Cheetah. Now, Ninja Flex or Ninja Tech Cheetah. Ninja Tech is the name of the company. Ninja Flex is one of their TPUs that's super, super soft. It's got a Shore hardness of 85A, which is really soft. It's like a soft. It's like Ninja Flex is so soft that it's like having a wet noodle in your hand. The way it's so floppy, right? So you need a direct dry for that. The Ninja Tech Cheetah, which is the one I print, which is what this is printed out of, is Shore hardness of 95A. So it's a bit, it's somewhat harder, but it's like a rubber band is what it feels like. You know, the stiffness of a rubber band. That's what it feels like. And that one, 95A or so, you'll get away with on a Bowden style printer. 85, there's no chance of ever printing it. So don't get Ninja Flex. And there's even newer stuff out now that even has like Shore hardness of 60. That's like, I don't know, that's like the hair noodles being wet hair noodles, you know. So it's really, really, really soft, and it's super, super, super soft. And to print that, you need to have a direct drive, because the way to imagine it is imagine pushing a rope, right? You don't push a rope, you generally pull a rope, right? So, hey Jerry, do you want to come in and join us? Here's the link if you want to come join. So with the really soft material, it's like pushing a really soft rope, right? But what you do is there's a few ways to help that, and one of them is get rid of your stock Bowden tube, because in your stock Bowden tube there's a lot of play inside in the center, inside in that hole through your Bowden tube. And I like to use the what's it called? The Capricorn XS. The XS is actually really, there's very little play inside in it. And if you use the XS, when your material goes in, it has got no room to kink when it's being pushed, which is why I could print it. Right? Oh, his brain hurts. He just got done. Oh, he got done with his Hangout a while ago. Oh, your brain hurts. I think you have proof we have a brain, Jerry, right?
Oh, that's mean.
Jerry, he knows what I'm like. He knows I'm only giving him a hard time for the fun of it. So, hey, Alter, do you want to come join us? The link is there in chat. If you don't see it, let me know. I can repaste it for you. If you want to come in and join the conversation. Hey, Dave, come in, join the link. The link is there in chat. Come join us. If you don't see it, tell me, and I will post it again. You can come in and join the conversation. So, Capricorn tubing, the XS version of the Capricorn tubing really helps. So there's no room for the material to flex inside the tube when it's being pushed. It keeps it straight. And then after that is down to the extruder. Oh, Dominic said the Capricorn tubing. Oh, there's Dave Petzel. Oh, sorry, I turned you off. Dave, come join us. And then we have, looks like the Pro came with the Capricorn. Well, yeah, because Capricorn is good, but it should be the XS because it gives less tolerance on the inside. Come on, old man. Hey, man, how are you? So the Pro came with the Capricorn. Well, yeah, because Capricorn is good, but it has YouTube or whatever you're watching on. Less tolerance on the inside. Come on, old man.
Hey, hello again.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Jerry won't join us. He says his brain is hurting.
Hey, I two of my prints got finished, and I showed them coming off those the beds that I had.
Oh, cool! I didn't get to see it because I had to get dinner and before this.
Yeah.
Look at this, Dave. Look at your screen. I printed TPU on a Bowden printer on the Ender 5 Plus. Look at that finish.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Shiny.
I can see your screen.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And that's
like
TPU,
a mirror.
That's Ninja Tech Cheetah.
And that was with a Bowden?
That's with an Ender 5 Plus stock extruder. The only thing that's difference on it is I had the all metal hot end in it because I got sick of the Bowden tubes burning out over time. And I have so I have the Micro Swiss all metal hot end, and I also have the Capricorn XS tubing. That's
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah, well, the XS tubing has a little bit tighter, a little bit less clearance on the filament. So yeah, that would probably be a good combination.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out really well. I never printed as flexi material on that because of the Bowden tube being so long. But apparently, with the right tweaks, like with the Capricorn tubing, made a big difference. And I have a metal hot end and a hardened steel nozzle on it, but that took 2 hours to print.
2 hours.
15 millimeters per second print time is a print speed.
Okay.
You can't go fast with really soft material. If you do, it just won't lay down properly. So that was my test print before I have to print a full part for a friend of mine, and that full part is a 3.5 day print.
I actually print at 50. But I'm using a direct extruder, so
yeah. And but what for TPU?
For TPU, yeah. And I print at 0.3 layer height.
Okay, no, I went small because I wanted fine. I could go a little bit coarser on the layer height. I could go up to I go to a 0.2. I wouldn't go to a 0.3 because I don't want it. I want a nice finish on it.
Yeah, no, I got you. Mine are all mechanical parts, so I don't care if the finish is right. I just like I said before, I made those parts to fit in water to plug up the drain for the standpipe. So all I need it to do is be tight enough to plug a drain.
Well, I have a buddy of mine who does TPU prints on a direct drive, and his first layer looks like this. Well, he gets a lot of stringing. I've got no stringing in mine. Yeah,
stringing is tough.
I got none. I got one string coming off the corner when it did, because I did a brim, and then it moved over to start printing the part. And when it moved over to start printing the part, one string that attached to the bottom of this, and that was it. That's all I get off it.
Yeah, when I print TPU, I tell it to I tell it to not cross over. So I make sure that it goes over the filament that's already been printed.
Oh, you mean you do combing?
No, I don't do combing. I tell it that it cannot that it cannot go outside of the bounds of the previously printed filament. So you can set that in S3D rather, so that it comes back, and it, instead of crossing over like on a cylinder, it will travel around the perimeter of the cylinder and then store again.
That's what combing is in on
Cura.
It actually that's what combing does.
Combing just does the last few tenths of a millimeter.
No. Combing actually follows the part around to start off the next layer if it's going from point to point.
Yeah.
So it actually follows over, and you can say on for everything or not in the skin or an infill only, and it will only move over that, and it will avoid the walls altogether, the outer layer. That's what combing is.
In S3D, combing is a separate feature, so I don't know what it is in Cura.
What is combing in S3D then?
Combing in S3D is it takes the last few tenths of a millimeter, and it just goes back over that surface.
Okay, that's in Cura. That's called outer wall wipe. I think it is anyway, because in Cura, when it prints, before it moves, it has the ability to finish the layer, move in, do a retraction, move in, and then Z-hop and move to the next location. So it kind of wipes the nozzle before it moves on.
Sure.
Or you're thinking of not linear advance. What's the other Cura one? There's another one in Cura to finish off the layer with what's oozing out of the nozzle. Is that what you're talking about?
No. Not an ooze control.
No, not for ooze control. What it is when it comes up to the end of a print, let's say it's printing a layer, right? And it's finishing the layer. The last piece of that layer is that's a coasting. Thank you, Mark. It's called
coast. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so coasting, it basically finishes in the last few 1 or 2 millimeters. It stops extruding and just moves the head and then allows it to ooze out in the nozzle.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't. Thanks, Mark and Dominic. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name. I couldn't remember the proper name for it. But
I very rarely use coasting because it tends to leave voids.
Yeah, I never
in the walls
at all. Yeah.
You have to really have to define that. You really have to do a lot of test printing to get that to work. And I work with so many different PETG filaments that it just
and coasting is a problem when you have two parts come together at an angle, because it often leaves a gap right where the two pieces meet. Because so yeah, I don't use coasting, but the outer wall wipe is a great way. I use it all the time with PETG, and I'm using it with TPU. It actually wipes the nozzle before it moves, and it moves inward on the part towards the infill to clean the nozzle off before it moves, so it doesn't leave any pits. So when it lands on its new location, there's no pits left hanging off the end of the nozzle to be left on the print.
Yeah, I never have problems with that. So I just don't use that feature.
I use it on PETG. Because PETG can be stringy, and it's a way of cleaning the nozzle before it moves. And I use it. I've used it on TPU, and again, because TPU is a stringy material, it's a way of cleaning it off. And both PETG and TPU printer are on the same temperatures, right? Because like TPU is around 230, 240, and PETG is around the same.
Yes.
So. Yeah, I don't. And I print on glass, though.
Yeah, me too.
100% of the time, I print on glass.
It's so smooth. But my surfaces, I do put sometimes glue stick on it. I cheat a little bit.
There's two ways to get the glue. Well, I don't. For TPU, you don't use any glue stick. None. You don't need it. It'll stick to the glass naturally. For for PETG, you need to use glue stick. You don't really need glue stick for PLA either. Do your first layer really slow, about half the normal travel speed. So if you're printing at 50, your first layer at 25. Maybe the first 2 layers at 25 to get a good base down.
The recommended layer is 3 mil, and I go run about 1 mil.
No, I don't have that. I don't have those issues with it. I also find glue, and the easiest way to get glue stick off, you can either run it, take your bed off, and run it under the tap.
Yeah.
Slightly warm water will wash it away. Or instead of doing that, instead of wasting all that water, I don't like throwing the PVA glue down, washing it down the sink. So I get a glass scraper, like a utility knife blade, right?
Yeah.
Or in UK they call them standing knives, right? Standing knife blade.
Yeah.
With a glass scraper with one of those in it, you can actually scrape the glue off, and it comes off in little in sheets, and then just whatever's left over, then just wipe the bed down with a damp cloth, and it's done.
Yeah.
I don't like rinsing it under the tap. I don't like washing all that
environment.
Down.
It's not environmentally friendly anyway. So.
Well, it's
that's for your TPU?
Sorry, no, PV. We're talking about PVA glue stick for the bed.
For what filament?
Matt apparently uses it for everything.
Yeah, because my first layer is not 3 mil, it's 1 mil, because I think it looks better.
Well, this is a point. The first layer is a 0.2. And you saw how smooth my first layer is on this.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So
this is PET G, and this is 0.35.
What size nozzle are you using? The 6 mil?
A 0.6.
Yeah, the 0.6. Yeah.
I need to get some nozzles for my G-Tech machines, and I don't know where to look at.
Finish on that.
Yeah, that's
a nice finish.
Nice.
And that's no glue stick. No, I don't know if you were on the stream, but
I saw some of it.
Did you see my ender?
Yeah,
Did you see
I've seen it.
The setup for the ender?
That looks really nice.
With a glass. And then that's the build plate. And it just flexible build plate on that.
How much you charge for that?
I haven't made one yet. Probably, I don't know, probably 30, 35 bucks maybe.
All right.
I'd have to see what I got in. I have to see what I got into it, but I can make them. I can make them any size. The only problem with it is, since I'm using annealed glass, you have to be careful. The glass has to be clipped to the bed. Or you could use an adhesive, I suppose, but it has to be in close contact with either the heater that's on there, the aluminum plate, or the glass plate. I typically take the glass plate off, but like on a Tornado, they come with a tempered glass plate. So I just put a annealed glass plate on top of it with a piece of magnetic material, and then that's my build surface with the steel and the polycarbonate. But I don't use any glue stick. I use nothing. It adheres like incredible on polycarbonate.
Yeah, well, I use glue stick on glass because I know you don't want it to rip up the glass, and I do a lot of PETG prints. But the thing about it, when you're doing PETG, and you cannot squish PETG too much. It doesn't like it. Your first layer on PETG should be about a 0.3, or if you're doing a 0.4 nozzle, your first layer should be a 0.3. Or maybe if you're doing a 0.2, make sure you got lots of clearance. Like, it's not your normal paper barely touching, give it a little bit more room again, because PETG doesn't like to be squished that much. You should just lay it on the glass. Just let it lie on there. It will actually adhere on its own.
I actually build fillets into any of my parts, and that way I don't get the elephant foot on the PETG, and I can squish that first layer. I only want to squish it enough that any 100% fill is correct. You know, it's more of my fill and not my outer walls.
Hey Dan, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys today?
Good.
I just got back home from going to fix an Ender 5 Pro Plus, and that was fun.
An Ender 5 Plus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he messed it up. Yeah, he messed it all up. Like all.
How can you mess it up? It's the easiest printer in the world to use.
It is when it's not your first printer.
Oh no!
I go back. So he didn't assemble it correctly.
You name it, it happened. It's his very, very first printer. Instead of, entering the world like we all did, starting out small, he decided to go big and thought he could handle it.
Well, go big or go home is what they say, right?
Well, that is one thing. He works for a adult nightclub, and he does a lot of printing for them. He prints out the girls' masks and stuff like that. So yeah.
Dave,
so what was the biggest problem with the printer?
Well, when I got there, the tubes were off. The wires would come up for the hot end out the back end. William, you probably know best.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm actually jumping on and trying to create an STL to give it a little bit of like a 3-inch girth instead of just coming up and looping over, because it's got a lot of weight on it.
Put strain relief on it.
It's got a lot of weight on it. So what's happened?
There's actually a strain relief out there on Thingiverse already. You can just download and print it.
No, well, I pulled off all that, car fucking spark. Excuse my language. The spark plug wire. That plastic stuff. What they put on there. Yeah, the 15 millimeter like plasticky one. Yeah, that I ripped that thing right off.
The wire loom.
Yeah, that stuff. That is ridiculous. When it's braided underneath and then you put that on top of there. Why?
Oh, there's just stiff as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, there's a question there for you.
To use 3M adhesive sheet to glue the polycarbonate? No, I do not. I actually use a high temp laminate adhesive. So similar to let me grab it.
How's the project coming along?
It's going well, actually. We went over a few things. We had a nice little group chat with some new moderators. A lot of things are getting changed up. I'm pretty sure we have now decided on how the internal structure versus the external structure is going to be built. Right now, my co-founder, Kieran, actually has COVID, so he's stuck at home for the next couple.
Dominic, you can put this on. You can put this on with a foam brush, with a foam roller, like this. You put that on both surfaces. Then you let them dry about 10 minutes till they're totally dry, and then you use a brayer. Use a brayer to put it on the surface, and this takes about 15 minutes to dry, and then that ends up being this surface on the steel. Okay, and then this is nearly impossible to pull away from the steel once those are on there. And as you can see, there's no, it's a nice uniform surface. what you're seeing in there is I sand both surfaces before I put the adhesive on them, so they will adhere better. And then that weldwood, it's like a Formica adhesive, and it's high temp. So I've had this in the oven when we were testing it, and you can put it up to 250, 300 degrees, and it doesn't affect the material at all, or the polycarbonate for that matter.
You don't need temps to that unless you're printing peak anyway. So
yeah, you'll never have it that hot.
Yeah.
Maybe the magnet is only good up to about maybe 150 C. The magnet companies that I'm working with, they have sold me some of their higher end material, but make sure you get higher end magnet material, because some of the cheaper stuff doesn't hold up to the heat.
Yeah.
Well,
it magnetism breaks down. Yeah.
It breaks the magnetism down at about 150 C. So 120 to 150.
Daniel, so are you still looking for people to come in and join your program?
So as things are progressing, I do plan on probably figuring out where and who. It's a little bit of hard to discuss without the co-founder here, but yes, we probably will be accepting a lot more people. We capped it at 125. We've been adding people what are helping towards the cause. The Luban maker has joined our group because that's the program we're using, and it's great to have him there if we have any troubles when it comes to splitting up the model and everything. Also, he's helping out the whole community, helping with lithos like Matt does. Actually, I was going to ask you, what have you been printing, Matt?
Well, I can show you. Well, I have to bring it over to the other light.
Matt is the litho king, right?
That's what I'm saying.
He's been printing for 9 months, and he knocks out lithographs that are fantastic.
Thank you.
But yes, well, you probably will be getting a message from me here shortly. Being
Good,
like, hey.
because I have printers to be used, right?
Oh, no, I know you do. No questions asked.
Oh,
And you know the material.
Well, materials, who are you working with on materials?
We're going to go recycled.
No, but whom?
You'll find out.
Because you have to have consistencies, is why I'm asking.
Correct.
So whoever's going to, if you're going to do it in blue, or if you're going to do it in gold, or going to do it in silver or black or whatever pukey green you want to use, right?
Right.
You need all of it to be supplied by one manufacturer.
The same person. Correct.
One manufacturer's green, the next manufacturer's green are totally different, and it's going to look, unless you want to have that mosaic type of look on it, which can be nice.
Right. Can you drop him full? Can you drop him full?
I'm going to make him full. 1 second. Matt, keep that up there 1 second. I'll make it full screen. Look at that.
My goodness.
That's nice.
It's 30 centimeters by 20 centimeters.
How long, though?
4.5 days. So
couldn't see my face just right there, but yeah.
This little one took around about 2 days. So
you need to start putting your profile out there, because you know how many people would love to have your profile for lithos?
I know. I've been asked several times, but right now I'm only working with charities, and they quite keep me busy. And for me, it's not about to make money. For me, it's about to make people happy, and I know it makes people happy paying for it, but
yeah, no,
right.
But Matt, he was asking about your Cura profile settings that you have. Export your Cura profile settings.
Yeah.
because other people then can use it for their little things, because you do a really good job. Your settings are well done. Now, it is for a GTEC printer, so you may have to tweak it for your own printer, but they are really well tuned in.
Right.
Yeah,
but it
thank
gives
you.
a baseline. Gives a
Yeah.
nice baseline.
So, Mark wants to know more about your project, Daniel.
World's largest 3D human print. We
Get the name and
decided
keep it
on,
for the record.
but we
Good
decided
luck.
on a nurse due to the situation because the coronavirus, and they put their lives on the line day in and day out. So in honor of them, we chose a nurse. It's a local nurse from the place that we're actually going to be doing the model, which
It's Dublin, isn't it?
it's over in Ireland, right at the end of the Peace Bridge.
That's in Dublin, right? Yeah.
Londonderry.
Oh, the north of Ireland. Okay.
Nice little place. Nice little place.
Been there,
The
I've been there before.
pictures are beautiful. I can't wait to set my feet on the ground because,
Yeah. No,
I
I've
don't
been
know
there,
if you see it, but it's red hair. So, I mean, it's my homeland.
So, yeah. So they're actually they have 3D scanned a nurse, and
Correct.
they're going to slice that up into components, and each person is going to build their own part, 3D printed, right? And it's all going to be shipped to one location and then assembled.
Yeah, which is going to be really fun, but at the same time, we're coding all of the pieces. So when they get there, I'm not sitting there for 3.5 days trying to build this huge model. Oh my goodness, that was
each one will have to have a number on it, and they'll all have to go together in a specific way. Yes, it'll be like a jigsaw puzzle.
right.
But
And
Going to
then
be
for
engraved on the items?
probably something of that lines. When we send out the file, it'll have a file name by it, so when we receive it back, we know exactly where it goes.
yeah, they'll have to have a sticker on it at least anyway, with that name on it.
Right.
Yeah, file name, so they'll know where everyone goes, because they'll have a map then of where each piece goes together, like a jigsaw puzzle or like a Lego part. How are you going to join the parts? That's the question.
Like the whole model together? What
How are you
type
gonna
of
fuse them?
glue?
Yeah.
We gone over that last time. We actually had to reach out to a friend who's very, very inclined into making models last outside for a very long period of time. He actually is one of our moderators for the group now. And he's given us a little bit of insight on debatable on the materials that we use. If we use the, I'm going to giggle a little bit. Matt, can you move your head? Because it looks like you got a nice little tattoo.
He has my logo on his forehead. He's my biggest fan.
Yeah.
You got a tattoo
Like
right
he's
there
on
on the
a-
forehead. But it's a little bit worrisome with the UV aspect, because you got to think about it. After sitting out in the sun for a long period of time, you guys know as well as I that it heats up and melts over time. So we're looking at exactly. So we're looking at a strong UV coating over top to make sure that
it'll have to be PETG. No, it'll have to be PETG.
PETG, yeah. Or
The only way
ASA.
to do it is PETG. And it'll have to be PETG, and it doesn't have to be UV resistant, but you can get UV resistant PETG. Let me
Why
check.
not use lacquer on top?
You can use a lacquer to finish it, but it wouldn't. But when you initially put it up, you don't do that. So 1 second, let me figure out. Let me check something.
Yeah, I mean, you only need to have the outside lacquered, because once the outside lacquer is hardened and it's a solid seal, then no water can come in anyway. So
correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
but you'd have to. But it's not about the water. PETG would not really be bothered by water. It's more of something that's heat resistant. They can stand in the out there in the heat of the sun, and the lighter the color, the better, because it naturally reflects. So a light blue
white
would be good. White, well, a light blue would be okay too, I think. But I wouldn't go a dark color, because a dark color would actually absorb sun rays and actually heat up. But PETG can withstand the outside the temperature, or ABS, but PETG is safer. And
it's easier to print for all around the board, especially some of our members are beginner printers. At the beginning, before we before we closed the group and stuff like that, we were accepting everybody. It didn't matter who you were. If you wanted to be a part of it, go ahead and be a part of it. We only closed out at the 100 count just because we wanted to get everything under wraps before we start inviting new people in.
How are you going to do quality check?
Well,
we are, and we have been throughout the group. There's little things like I would post up an STL. I believe the first one was a turtle, and I was like, everybody print a turtle. I don't care how big it is. I don't care how you print it. I don't care the orientation on it. I just want to see you print it. Everybody printed out these turtles. My turtle came out with about that big. It was really funny. I was very much so enjoyed myself because I was really busy. FDM, yeah. I was really busy at the time, and I had a print on the board, and I'm like, you know what? It can fit right here in the corner. Let me put it on there this small, get it done and over with. A lot of people turned out and printed out, and then obviously some of you have seen our models. That's actually a portion of the 3D scan. We went ahead and just made a small little nutshell model, nice little paperweight and whatnot. Had all of our people printed out. We've been posting it all over certain pages. Some people, their prints came out beautifully. We have one guy what did it in the rainbow color. Some of the oranges look really great. The marble one looked fantastic. Like you saw absolutely no layer lines, no nothing.
Yeah, but with a marble, you need to print marble with a 0.5 or 0.6 nozzle. Because if you do a 0.4, you're going to get clogs all over the place. So you need to go to 0.5 and 0.6. So what you should do is specify the nozzle size for everybody. Don't let them print a 0.4. Don't let them, everybody prints a 0.6. So layers are right. So the Cura settings have to be defined and say these are the Cura settings you're going to use because we have the right size layers. We have the right everything. It's uniform if you want it to look uniform. No, the marble would be good because it's a bright color, and it would reflect the UV. So you can't fade marble because it's almost already faded anyway, right? And you wouldn't need much coating on it to prevent this. It might yellow a little bit over time. Somebody's drilling over there. He's ignoring me.
Yeah, I got a toothache now.
I muted him.
I don't think he's gonna realize just yet.
No,
no, I believe it's gonna be a great project, but this isn't the only project what we have on board. Like there are so many others where we're just making sure that this one is as a success as it needs to be before we move forward.
Well, I'm going to mute him again. You need what you need is you need to figure out how much material you need and how many people it's going to. Let's say every person would use 1 kilo of material.
No.
Right? I'm just saying, right?
Yeah, but yeah, no.
It won't be that much.
It's really not.
I'm just saying,
like,
I'm just giving you a simple number. Whoever the manufacturer is that's going to sponsor the material should then provide like Amazon gift cards where everyone can download it for free, so it costs them nothing, or something along those lines. And that way, then it's you have consistency in what's coming out.
Agreed. Right now, I'm actually working on the infill. Funny enough, but
you need to be strong.
It does, and that was one thing that we had to overcome as well. Is along the lines of how much infill is needed at the bottom versus how much infill is needed at the top, so it doesn't get top heavy and topple over on us.
1 second, Dave. I'm going to mute you because you're making noise.
I thought you had muted me.
Well, I was turning you on and off. Every time you put the thing down, I unmuted you, and then as soon as I unmute you, you pick it up again. Unmute yourself when you're ready, okay?
But needless to say, that was a hard thing to overcome because when we started looking at the heights, we started looking at the dimensions all the way around and how much filament is needed for the whole project, because we have looked into that. And it's actually not as much as you would think it would be. To be truly honest, for as long as we're going,
I'm guessing. How tall is it?
I can't release that.
Okay. Let me guess then, right? And
Okay, go ahead.
I'm guessing because it's going to be the tallest, so it's going to have to be big.
Right.
I'm
You've seen the
guessing-
record yet so far, yeah?
I have never
No.
seen
What's
the
the
record. What is
record?
the record?
Oh my goodness. So the record is 11 feet 3 inches.
Okay, so it's a 12-foot tall person, roughly. I'm guessing. So
Now we're doing this to honor nurses.
I know.
NHS?
I'm sorry?
Which nurses you doing the?
No, it's a nurse because of COVID.
Oh,
So they're doing
okay.
it to honor nurses because of the emergency services for COVID.
Any money that we raise over on our GoFundMe gets donated. Any money that we have left over from our GoFundMe gets donated. We haven't chosen a charity just yet, but it will come down to that once we get a little bit closer in steps.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm guessing it'd probably take about 40 kilos, 30 or 40 kilos of material, I'm guessing, to print that tall.
I believe he did it. I believe he did the 11 foot 3 and 37 kilos is correct.
So I was good. I was close.
Mm-hmm.
So and you would want to be doing a 3-dimensional infill because a 3-dimensional infill will give us rigidity because anything else will not. And you
Right.
probably want to be doing a 20% infill, I'm guessing.
Well, it's probably going to trickle down. So it'll probably start around the 43 infill on the bottom, sticking at
Oh, wow.
43 probably all the way up through the
lighten
shin,
it.
and then drop down to the 35 by the waist,
Yeah,
20 by the chest.
yeah, lighten
then-
as you go up.
Correct. So no top heavy, no nothing.
Yeah.
The other thing is you will have to have steel rods embedded into concrete to support it, otherwise it'll topple over. Through the legs, there needs to be hollows going up through the legs so it sits down into it
Like
and
a
it's
Barbie.
locked around it.
Like a Barbie. I explained this the other
I
day.
don't know.
The problem-
I never owned a Barbie. Maybe you did, but I didn't.
I got a 7-year-old. No, I'm sorry. I got a 5-year-old daughter. Yeah, I got a lot of Barbies. A lot of Barbies. As a matter of fact, I printed one a new arm the other day.
Well,
So
yeah, you need something. It'll probably have to go as deep as the knee, though.
the problem is that we have to make sure and stay in guidelines and make sure that we can do that, because if it has to be 100% 3D printed,
It
then
can be 3D printed. It's just that the stand that it's actually to hold it up to make it last would have
Right.
to be safety, because otherwise you can't have something that's tall because that's going to be fairly heavy, right? If
Right.
that blows
So-
over and lands on somebody when the wind blows or breaks and falls over on someone, that's going to cause damage. And it's going
So
to
that's what
severely
we're
hurt.
waiting to find out. We're waiting to find out if we can do an internal structure or do we have to do an external structure, because everything what's inside the unit, I believe from what I've read, but we're waiting on them to get back to us, is 3D printed. So I wouldn't be able to run steel rods up through the unit. I would have to build an external structure and attach it to it.
Can you not
So
design
you'd
it
have
like
to
a
put
puzzle?
hooks on it, and then use wires to come down at the waist to stop it from falling over, and use turnbuckles there to support it. I used to be. I'm an ex-sailor.
What are you saying, Matt?
Like a puzzle, like a puzzle piece sticking together, but it's 3-dimensional. And
Yeah.
that it slides in, like one is like a
dovetail.
V shape, and then dovetail join.
Dovetails would be the way to put it together, and what you do is they have the one piece on top of the other. You'd offset them. So one stands as tall, one is short. Let's say as the leg, and the next one
Like
there's a
bricklaying.
dovetail, male and female. This next one slides in, and then the next one slides in above that. So they're kind of staggered, like when you're doing when you're putting up a block wall, you stagger the bricks. You just stagger them, but you stagger them vertically, and they slot in on top of each other. By doing that, then they self-support, and you just pour a resin or whatever in between them with a high intensity UV light. Pour a bit of resin in there, high intensity UV, it'll harden instantly, and it's cured, and it's not going. And then do the next one and UV it, and then by doing that, then you could they would self-support, but then you'd have to have something around the waist where you can actually put like bolts or something sticking out through it that you with like eyed bolts, steel bolts with eyes, and then you actually link onto that the steel cables with turnbuckles, and then that then gets bolted onto the ground. So the internal is all plastic minus the bolts to support it, so it doesn't fall over. But it is all in plastic inside, other than the additional supporting bolts.
Right. But we've also gone over the factor if it does have to be an external, we might as well encage the whole thing and just put plexi around it. It'll make it easier for transport. Trust me.
You could, you could, but it's not going to be transported that much. You're going to build it in place.
Right, but hypothetical, let's say 5 years, 10 years down the road, we don't want that object there anymore, or we've printed bigger.
Still, if the city gives the approval for it to be there, they may not put a time limit on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that takes permits.
It does.
So,
which is really nice because the area that we've already got approval for, it's a very ritual area. The Peace Bridge, it's a beautiful bridge. I wish Kieran was feeling better. He could probably jump on here and tell you a little bit more about it. But needless to say, it overlooks the river. It's a beautiful area.
What city?
Londonderry.
Londonderry, okay.
Just look up Peace Bridge, Ireland, and it'll drop you some nice little images.
Okay. Yeah, if you need some more people, I'm willing to help if you...
Actually, there's actually a contest you would probably be really good at right now. Luban is running a contest to where you sit there and put a lipithane on a model and print it out, and you get a free license for the year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, here's an idea. I'm giving up on an idea. I'm going to change your model on you.
Okay.
Make the head transparent and put her face on it. A lithophane face, so you can see a person's face when the sun, when you have a light on it.
So this was my idea for that contest. What I was going to do is I was going to do a face mask with a picture of my face underneath of it and add little LED lighting throughout the mask. So when I flip on the switch, you can see the dimensions of my face.
But what you do is you do it in this case for the nurse, for the big statue.
Yeah.
You would actually put lights on the inside and you can put batteries in there and put a solar panel on its head. So it lights all night, and then during the day it recharges itself on its own.
Sounds like a good concept.
You could actually give the face. You could actually give it a face.
Right. Totally agreed. But the level of detail that we're going for is what's really counting, and that's what really comes down to all these nice little things. What I make my group members or ask my group members to participate in. It's to see what type of quality they are, because when it comes down to picking pieces, you might be building a toe. Just saying.
It better be a big toe for my printers.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes down to the detail, when it comes down to picking out the places, like when it comes to her face and stuff like that, it is going to be a selective choice. I'm not going to just hand random.
No, of course. For the area that needs detail, you need to pick. I think Dave is finished. Oh, you're unmuted, Dave. Okay. So I think I think it's a fantastic idea. We just have to make the parts and ship them. So, but you need one manufacturer to sponsor all the filament.
Correct.
Liam, it's like SETI.
What's like SETI?
Everybody's gonna put their 3D print into a final project and come up with a finished piece.
Which that's what the one thing that we really wanted to do. We wanted to really get the community together and get as many people interested in doing this together, because I'm just saying the world's largest garden gnome is only 25 feet.
How big is it? 25 feet?
25 feet. That's it. That's the world's largest garden gnome. I mean, I can go after that one next.
How many individual parts are you going to have in your final sculpture?
And
TBD.
nurse.
Yeah.
So most of our, it can range. It really can. It really debates on people's build size. Some people in our group have a monopriced II3. Some people have Ender 5 pluses. Some people have Ender 3s. It will come down to the amount of units that we have what are printing certain pieces. Like if I had Liam's Ender 5 Plus printing for me, obviously I would be maxing out his build area. I mean, to be truly honest, that's 300 by 300 by 400. So that would knock out, 3 or 4 Ender 3 pieces easily.
Well, did you see that you were on did you see the live stream from last week?
No.
With IT3D?
Yes, actually I did.
Did you see their big printers on their production floor that were 4 feet by 4 feet by 3.5 feet?
They're massive units. Yes, I saw
like
those.
It's like a bedroom.
I kind of thought about it for a while. I was like,
I'm wondering if you can get a company to sponsor you and they actually help print some of the parts for it.
I mean, that would be good, but I would rather have the community do it.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they mostly ship within the US and Canada, right? So,
right.
So you need to have someone who makes filament and ships internationally, or is on Amazon internationally. Now, I know a company, but the problem is I don't know if they would be willing to sponsor. I actually know more than one company who are filament manufacturers, but the problem is we'd have to approach them. We need to know how much material is needed to approach them to ask them would they be willing to sponsor.
Right, which is understandable. No questions asked. I mean, obviously they want to know as much information as possible, but until information is set in stone, we don't want to release any information.
I know, but you could give estimates of.
Oh yeah, easily.
So,
I could say that it takes around,
let's say, 40 kilos of filament of one color, and you pick a color that they have, and say we all want it all this way. Would you be willing to donate 41 kilo spools?
All right, I was just given the green light. He seems to be hanging out, but we actually are going to be working with Greengate. It's recycled.
Okay, that's recyclable. Okay.
Yes.
And they're here in the States, aren't they?
Actually, they have multiple locations. They have a location in Ireland.
Their HQ's here in the US.
Right. Which is really really nice, but I wasn't sure if I was allowed to divulge that information, but obviously I am.
I was going to ask one or two other companies, but okay. So we can now. Do we have enough big printers? Was a question as well for the large parts.
Yes, and I mean truly yes. We have a lot of printers. No questions asked. We have a lot of
printers for the large parts.
Right. Right now, I want to say maybe. I want to say no, but I want to say yes at the same time.
Well, I have 3, and I have 2 more coming, but I won't have this. The other 2 I won't have till probably end of January. One maybe the end of December, the other the end of January.
Tell me you got the SV3.
No. I already have some that are that size. I have an Ender 5 Plus. I have a JG Maker A1, which is 300 by 300 by 300. The 5 Plus is 350 by 350 by 4, and I have a longer LK1, which is a 300 by 300 by 400. And I know I have the JG Maker Artist D coming. And I also will probably have a what's their names? Weedo, their IDEX printer as well.
Yeah. That the JG, it looks nice. I really want to.
And the Artist and the Weedo are both IDEX.
Right.
So I have one of those, one of each of those. But if we need a bigger printer, and if we can justify it, if we can tell me what size we need to print, I can reach out to my contacts to see if they can provide me with something bigger.
Yeah. Well, what my game plan is that when we get down to crunch time, I am going to be probably 3 or 4 units live streaming 24/7 until they're done printing with a bunch of parts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I can do that here too. I can stream here 24/7.
Right. And it's going to pretty much be straight, almost like vlogging for a month straight for me, which is weird because I have 4 kids. This will be the first time I've ever been away from my kids for more than 24 hours in 17 years.
Well, I can do up to 10 people on a single stream live. In this stream, we can add 10 people. So if you wanted to, we could have 10 people on here live feeding their cameras while they
at all times. Right.
So that's possible.
Straight
right?
live stream, just nothing but printers. That is my goal. I mean, I have a lot of monitors. What I watch a lot of people's streams on. As a matter of fact, it's really funny because one of my friends is like, dude, I'm going to set up Twitch real quick. Can you just watch my printer and make sure nothing goes wrong? And if something goes wrong, can you call me? I'm like, sure. I was watching it for like 30 minutes and the layers just started to go sideways. And I'm like, should I call him?
Yes, mean. That's just mean.
You know what I mean? Like, well, it was a printer I was working on, and it's probably the most ridiculous expensive printer that you could think of. It's a FormBot T-Rex 2 Plus, and that thing, out of all of it, it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Why is $1,500? Like,
you see that comment there from Dominic? Joel, you know Joel from 3D Printing Nerd?
I do.
He has a $38,000 printer that he is. I don't know if he still has it though. He had it for a long time.
You mean the one he broke?
The one he broke.
He broke the
PPG on the first print. Yeah, that one.
Oh, it's the one where he broke, make a big chest piece on top.
Yeah,
and,
the Chep pawn. He broke the glass because he didn't put a release agent down. Rookie mistake.
Right. That one.
But yes, that type of like he could print a really big part on that.
He could.
Right? He could bring. He could probably do the whole torso in there or a whole leg in one go.
I mean, to be truly honest, if I had a CR30, I mean, I could print the whole thing in strips and strips and strips and strips and strips. I mean, it really doesn't matter the size of your printer. It comes down to the quality of your print.
Like, well, his prints were good, and it was a 2.85 millimeter filament, and it was all PETG he was printing. But he, it was a rookie mistake. He could but I'm just saying we could find, if you want the community to do it, Joel is part of the community, right?
Yeah,
heavily. And if you could do it, and you could reach out with him, or I could reach out to him and ask him would he be interested in helping out with it.
Right.
And the other thing that we could do is maybe reach out to some of the Creality. If someone thinks they want to print really long parts in one piece, we can reach out to Creality, and they may be interested in donating a CR30 to do really long parts.
No, but that's like my ultimate goal is to make 4D art. That's what I would love to do, and that's what I see the CR30 as. Like, you could straight up print, strips about 4 inches deep. Nice, big, huge 4D art for the blind where they can go and rub up against it and actually
I do that today.
I know.
That's what I want to do too.
Right. Now, could you imagine that? A full Mona Lisa? Like, a nice, big Mona Lisa?
I can do that because I have actually worked with a guy who is who's a really cool CAD software engineer.
Yeah.
And he actually helped me design the software. I used to do these manually, and he actually came up with a way of taking a flat image and curving it and making it 3-dimensional like that for me. So there are ways of doing that, of extracting that detail, and there's multiple ways of doing it. Right? There's ways of doing it in Mesh Mixer as well. But
yeah, there is,
and there's plugins for Mesh Mixer that does a really good job of it. But we need people with for some areas, because to give better support, long parts that go up through the go most of the way or part of the way through the body, and other parts add onto it, like the center of a leg, right, the very center slice of a leg, one piece, and then the other parts link onto that. That gives structure rigidity, right?
Right. Almost like a stick man form.
With a stickman form, and then you add the other parts around it. Then you use resin, which is pretty material, and cure it. As you add stuff together, that will actually harden into becoming a solid structure, right? But you have to have that consistency through it, because otherwise stuff will crumble. Because you have weak points, but this will add a rigid, solid point right through, or in stages. At least maybe like one part would run up so far, the next part would start below that and run up through it, and you have a few of these slices, and everything is attached and joined onto these slices then.
Right. Oh yeah. See. Okay. So Matt, again, another person what would like your profile. Like, as I'm sitting here having the conversation with you, I get a message up saying your lithothenes are beautiful, absolutely super. Like,
I want your profile.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, just post it up. Just I don't care if I have to tweak it a little bit.
I'll tell you what, export it and throw it into the group. Matt.
Well, I do. Yeah, I will do it for next time live show. I will get ready and I will have a file ready for you guys, and I'll make some pictures. Because I don't.
Matt, use the profile you used today. You just have to go into Cura and export it.
Okay.
Is what you do. You export the filament profile or the settings.
I don't have a setting because I keep changing my setting for different lithophanes, because different heights need different.
Right. I agree. And that's what's really funny, because like every day, like when I print something or I show a friend something, they're like, "Oh, cool! Can I get that profile?" And I'm like, "That was like 6 profiles ago, but okay, let me see what I can do."
Sorry about
Dominic,
that.
what you said about slicing is in that way, that would not give it strength. That's the problem. You'd have to be very careful how you slice stuff. You have to have overlapping layers. If you don't have overlapping layers, you lose the ability to add structural integrity.
Right. So if you use a CR30, what you would do is you would actually create it like an IKEA table. You know how it has the in slot like this?
Yes.
If you were to create it on a long platform like the CR30,
or
create
a pole and a hollow, and one goes inside the other, and then they're stuck together. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Now
Correct.
The other thing is, when you do your slicing up of the part, the dimensions of each of the part, height, width, and so on, would have to be included with the part when you send it to somebody, because when they bring it into their slicer, they need to make sure their slicer doesn't resize it. Sometimes it does happen.
Really?
I've seen it happen. Yeah. So you want to be careful that look, if you make a part and dimensions are, let's say, 60 by 30 by 20, you make sure that you tell them it's 60 point whatever, 30 point down precisely, because if there's any inconsistencies, the parts won't go together.
Yeah. That nice little was saying that it's time for me to get off here for a little bit, but it was always a pleasure chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
I'll be online for a little bit longer, but gotta take care of some things.
Tell me, said hi.
Have a great night.
Bye. But keep me posted.
Nice guy.
Yeah, and it's a cool project. Actually, it's a really good project. I love the idea.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Well, he will be looking for more people to join in to help, and I'll be happy.
I'm close enough, so shipping.
Yeah, you're really close. It's easy for you. Yeah. So we need to get as many parts together, and we need someone to sponsor a single manufacturer to sponsor the material, so it's consistent. But it'll have to be PETG.
Oh,
and if you want
I never work with that.
Yeah, I'll work with you if you get some PETG. I'll work with you on fine tuning your profile.
Okay.
It's not that hard. And yes, you'll actually have a reason to use your glue stick.
Yeah, actually, I'm waiting on some cables to come because one of my machines only go halfway up because the cable what I used came from another printer. And that cable was a little bit too short, and it's
Oh.
just maybe like 20 centimeters short.
Oh,
that-
well.
that sucks.
I know.
But so yeah, that I think that's a cool project. I think we should get as many people as many as they'll allow. And the cool part is, when it's done, your name will be in the Guinness Book of Records as being part of the project.
All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because you're going for the Guinness Book of Records, so they list everybody involved in the project.
That's
Somebody's
cool.
doing some reloads.
No, I'm. This is that part that I'm manufacturing and selling.
Yeah. But it's not for your reloader, right?
It's for the reloader. Yeah.
Yeah.
It.
Is it for a gun?
Yeah, it's for reloading shells with new bullets. So you take out the cap on the bottom, you put in a new firing cap, you load it with the grains of powder, and then you actually put in a new bullet on top.
So
there's a machine for it called a reloader.
Not too keen on gun. Maybe print toy guns, but not
can
real
you see
guns.
it from there?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay, so if you have if you have the correct amount of powder in, you'll get this. Okay?
Yeah.
If you have too much powder in it,
So not overloading.
Yeah.
you'll get this. Whoop. So it basically, you get a light. That's saying it's too much. And if it has no powder in it, you get that. You get no sound. So it's basically it's basically an audio cue that you have the correct amount of powder in each shell. It's either empty, you hear nothing. It's the correct amount. You get and if it's too much, you get a light.
If you change the light to being red,
Yeah.
that's a warning, because then you have to dump it. Otherwise, you don't want to overload. It's a bad idea. So
When you get a bright LED in your eyes, that's a big warning.
yeah. So that's cool.
These are I designed all these, every part on here is all 3D printed.
Sweet.
And then I've sold a few of these. I've sold a lot of these. And this is a new part. I've sold one of them and they haven't even been out for sale yet. So
Nice.
You smoke a lot?
I smoke a lot. I do. I'm a smoke-a-lotter.
A smoker. Like a chimney. And like my mom used to say.
I'm like a chimney. I'm like a chimney. Indeed, I am.
Yeah, I used to smoke for quite a while and I quit now. I'm now 3 months clean, so
I'm 63 years old. So I should probably quit, but my grandfather smoked till he was 90, so
yeah,
Doesn't
some people
affect
doesn't get some people doesn't
varies from
get
person to
affected by
person.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
and
all
you're right.
it's all genetic.
Yeah, Dominic, you're correct. Not having enough is if you don't have enough of a charge, you get a squib load. And a squib round is a problem because it expands in the barrel and jams, and you have to get it drilled out.
Yeah,
Or-
doesn't it damage the weapon?
Or you try to fire not knowing that it's a squib load.
And then you blow up the barrel.
Bullet already in the barrel.
Yes. I've
So
seen that happen.
That would be very dangerous.
Yes. Because two
That's
things
why
can
I
happen.
don't
Either the barrel
Have
blows.
guns.
Well, three things can happen. You'll either push out the round and you get lucky, the barrel explodes and you're not so lucky, or it flashes backwards into your face, which you're not so lucky.
That absolutely. Those are the three.
So yeah, they're not good things to happen. So you have to make sure that the amount of grains you put in is correct for the round type and the weapon type.
And I've been loading for about 30 years. So, and shot competition for about 10 years. So
You grew up with it.
yeah, but it's bizarre when you talk about a squib load. My son was shooting reloads next to me in one of my 45s, and I heard a squib, and I just yelled immediately, "Stop!" And it was right in the middle of the barrel, and he could have gotten really hurt had he fired the next round.
Yeah.
So.
Especially in a pistol, it's worse than a pistol because you often don't know it's happening.
You're firing very quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I originally made 30 years ago, I made this. And so this is what I've been using for the last 25 years. And this one is a double sound. You get a low sound when it's correct and a high sound when it's overcharged. So you hear those two, the difference between those two. So I made these, like I say, 25, almost 30 years ago. And I've been using these forever. Now I have the 3D printer and I've been making all my prototypes on the 3D printer. So I thought, well, hell, maybe some of the guys would like this because this is very labor intensive to make. I mean, I have to do a lot of welding. I have to cut a lot of steel, mount a lot of parts. This I can make in 3 hours of printing. You know, it's got six moving parts in it or 6 parts, and I can make that in about 3 hours and do all the wiring, mount all the switches and everything. So I like this. I'm the kind of, when it comes to doing repetitive labor like that you have to really keep your eye on. You have to really concentrate when you're doing it. To me, it only makes sense to have visual or audio cues involved. So this way I don't have to look down into every load and try to figure out if I've got powder in it or not. If I hear the beep, I know I've got the correct amount of powder. So I just continually load, and I hear a beep, and I know it's right. Hear a beep, and all of a sudden, I got my head down and I'm doing this. I see a flash of light. I know I've got a double charge. Or I don't hear a beep. I know I've got a squib. I've got no powder in it. So, but I've made a few of those, that
if you have a squibble in a machine gun, I mean, that would definitely affect almost.
Yours messed up.
That would probably explode the barrel. Yeah. Because you're talking some really highly charged cases and a lot of pressure. Yeah, it would not be. Now, I mean, it's possible that it would eject the shell that's in it. It depends on how far the shell is, and there's pressure, in front of a bullet. So, but the odds are you're not going to have a good day.
No.
Yeah.
I've seen one time when I was living in America, a guy shoot a gun, and literally it just went pop, and then the bullet just came just out and just dropped down on the floor.
He got very lucky because it was undercharged, and it wasn't enough to spread the round in the barrel. He got really lucky.
Yep.
That's the danger with reloads. If you don't know what's going in there, and if someone else is doing the reloads and something goes wrong like that, if you do your own reloads and you're sure everything is right, that's one thing. But if you're doing them, if you're depending on buying somebody else's reloads, you have no clue what you're getting.
What happens when you get from the companies?
I won't let anybody use my reloads other than like my family, my son, and then I have to be with him. So,
how old is your son, may I ask?
What's that?
How old is your son, may I ask?
30.
All right.
Yeah.
What's for safety,
Yeah.
Yeah. Always be safety too when you're hunting.
Yeah, it's not. Guns are not something to play with.
No. Guns are no toys.
You have to be safe. You really have to know what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be.
See, I'm so unsure about myself, about guns, that I wouldn't touch a gun.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I feel unsafe about it. I had a gun. I've had many guns in my hand, but it was mostly empty guns. But it made me feel bad having the gun literally in my hands.
Well, everyone is different. Some people it doesn't bother.
No.
Some people it's an issue, right? So it's down to everybody's individual.
Yeah,
preference.
I mean, here I've been hunting since I was 5 years old, and I'm 63. So
because you grew up about it. I'm a European, and
we
don't
grew
have
up
guns here.
Yeah.
Well, no illegal ones anyway.
Well, I always can print one, if I wanted to, but that's even more
There's
dangerous.
models online.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I wouldn't do that though. They're not safe.
I know that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that. Yeah, there's a lot.
When you have to use ABS, I think, too. Filament for it. ABS is one of the strongest, isn't it?
Well, Dominic, that's not always a true statement. What you just said there.
Okay.
Often in times you have enough to if it's a semi, it will actually reload. You don't need a full charge to do a reload, right? So, if on a rifle, yes. On a pistol, which are spring loaded, no. You don't use the pressure of the round to do it. It's a spring load. So that statement is not true.
I've had a squib feed on my 45.
Yeah.
Let me check on my prints.
All right, guys. I think I might wrap up a little bit early tonight because only a handful of us are on here, and I know Matt is exhausted, tired, and wants to sleep because he doesn't sleep anyway. Matt is part vampire.
Well, not really. I don't suck blood.
And he has prints to get done. He's behind already. I have a 3.5 day print to kick off tomorrow. Well, I might do a small version of it tomorrow to see how the overhangs work, and then after that, kick off a 3.5 day print for TPU. But yeah, with that project, we should get. I'm going to keep in touch with him. I actually might get them to come on and do a stream with me when they're ready to look for new people, and so he can talk about it and maybe put the word out more about trying to get more people to join. And then I'll work with him and some of the companies to see if we need to get larger bed printers to do this work.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to follow that whole project.
Yeah, well, the first one they're going to do is in Ireland, but they're talking about doing more in the future, even bigger again in other countries.
I wonder, the guy that's doing the slicing is like the most important part.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine trying to slice in, 100 millimeter increments, So I've got to slice enough pieces that an Ender can print a few of them. The CR10 can print a few of them,
Well, it's more than that because you have to design your part with interlocking components to make them lock together and fit together. So you have to slice it.
Do they actually lock together, or do they just glue together?
No, because if you just glue them together, if the glue gives away, it's a problem. You're better off having them interlocked. So whoever does the slicing will have to go back and retouch all the parts, every component, and build a way of them interjoining in some way to give it structural integrity.
Yeah,
otherwise, you end up having a weak print.
But just think about that. If you're interlocking parts, depending on how your extruder, if you're not dimensionally correct, if your extruder is set up, then none of your parts will interlock.
Yep, I agree.
There's
So
no way of
your
sending it down.
your dimensional accuracy and your E-steps need to be perfect. So everyone will have to go through the process of calibrating their X, Y, and Z and E.
It's a challenge. It sounds like a challenge.
Well, I can, like, a video on how to do that is easy to put together. I could make a video on how to calibrate your X, Y, Z, and E. It's not that hard.
No. But to get everybody's to be calibrated the same is hard.
Well, no, if you do a calibration of your X, Y, Z, and E, right? If you do that and you're using like a micrometers or some other vernier calipers, if you move an axis 100 millimeters and you do the math, you'll get it down to exact right. Okay, if you do enough of those, if everybody does it,
I follow you. I know how to. Yeah, I can do it. But the guy, the first time he's used his printer, I don't know.
That's why you'd have to do a video and say, guys, there's how you do each of your axes. There's a video here. Follow it step by step. We'll explain the math. We'll give you a spreadsheet where you put in the numbers, the old numbers, the new numbers, the answers you got. Here's what you need to set it to. And you do it in the spreadsheet. It's not that hard. It's only multiplication and stuff, right? And subtraction. So.
All right, guys, I have to go.
All right.
I only have 2% left on my battery, so.
All right, man. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll see you on tomorrow night, okay? I have a stream tomorrow night.
All right, no problem. I will be there.
Okay.
Okay, Liam. See you, man.
So, you can do it. So if we did a video and you could do that, right? You could fine tune it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to let you get back to work, and I'm going to wrap up because I want to get to bed because I have to be up at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, Liam.
Well, I'm working, right? I'm working.
It's nice streaming with you.
Sorry?
I say it's nice streaming with you.
Always, man. I will see you. Will you be on my stream tomorrow night?
I probably will because I've got a bunch of these to get out and.
Tomorrow night is a live stream with myself and Tim Hugans from TH3D.
Yep, Tim's a good friend.
Yeah, so we'll be on there chatting tomorrow night. So that'll be my stream for tomorrow evening from 8 p.m. till 9 p.m. tomorrow night Eastern.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, man. I'll see you then.
See ya.
Thank you guys let me just go back to single screen 1 second. Right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. It was fun as always. If you want to remember, tomorrow night I'm on with Tim from TH3D, 8 p.m. Eastern time till 9 p.m. We will have some giveaways. Come join us. It's not going to be a hangout like this, but it'll be an easygoing get to know you chat with Tim, find out about his business, why he started it, how it's doing, where he plans to go with it, and so on. And then we'll do some giveaways at the end of the evening. So see you tomorrow night. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay printing.